submit to you. I will forever submit to you. I'll forever submit to you, Miles. I'll forever respect you, Miles. I'll forever honor you, Miles, as the head of our home and no other. There is no other, there is no one, no plans of hell will ever prosper in our marriage and will ever hold me not to be a wife that is a Proverbs 31 woman. I will become that woman that builds the home as I follow you, as you follow Christ. That is the only thing that we will do in our household. And I promise and I vow that in heaven they hear. On earth I declare and decree, I shall be a submissive wife unto you as we continue to do this work of God. Because to us, you know, this is beyond just love. This is about God. This is about kingdom. This is about our duty, reflecting to the world what true marriage, what God really intends for marriage to be. I honor you, Miles. And I love you with my all, with all my heart.
First of all, shout out to this amazing couple. I am happy for them, and it sounds like they are off to a very, very good start. Now, of course, this video caused a lot of traction, and there are a ton of people who were criticizing this woman, this wife, for bowing down and saying this to her husband. I do think it's important to remember context. I do understand in certain African cultures, it is not uncommon for somebody to bow down and get on their knees as a sign of respect. It's not necessarily meaning that they are worshiping them or saying that they are God per se, but it is a way to just honor respect. I've noticed this sometimes in Nigerian cultures, especially for elders, and I've also seen this take place in Uganda. So, I mean, again, I think there out the gate is a cultural difference that needs to be considered if you are looking at this from an American or Western point of view. But I want to explain briefly why I believe she received so much criticism and why so many ladies were triggered. There is so much fear-mongering today about a woman being submissive or a woman being in her quote feminine energy, or ultimately a woman acknowledging and choosing to be in a relationship with a man and recognize that she is not his equal as far as function, right? That they have different roles. Like, there is so much fear mongering around that. Like, anytime you hear the word submission, like people automatically assume that means that the woman is going to be being abused, that she's going to be making herself lesser than, that she's not going to have a voice, that she's not going to have an opinion, that she's going to become an unperson, that she's going to, quote unquote, lose herself. Like, there's all these negative connotations associated with a woman being in her natural place. And it's all coming from fear. It's coming from decades upon decades upon decades of propaganda. And what they are not understanding is that what she's basically doing is acknowledging her natural place in a marriage. Submission is not for abuse. It is not so a woman can be controlled and become the servant of a man. Submission is the natural role, is the natural place of a woman in a family. Because she does not have the capacity, nor does she have the role to carry the load and to carry the burden that the man of the house has to carry. And that's essentially what she is doing. Secondly, what's so interesting about what she said is we are clearly seeing the difference on how she is looking at this marriage. Like, the way she is talking, the way she is articulating her perception of marriage is 180 degrees different from what you were hearing online from a lot of these dating coaches that are coming out of America, and just, in general, all about getting the bag, all about, a man serving you, all about getting men to pay your bills, all about getting men to, basically make sure that they are taking you out regularly, all about getting men to take you on vacation. Like, so much of what we hear in the dating and relationship discourse today is about either women trying to extract as much as they can from their man, or men basically being like they don't trust these women because they just see them as like gold diggers, and so just hit it and quit it. But like, it's very, very transactional. And so I actually think it is refreshing to hear somebody come from a different perspective and really articulate the value and the beauty of marriage as a covenant as unto God, as two people who are coming together and serving each other. People have such a understanding of what submission is. Submission is actually supposed to be for the protection of woman. What she is basically doing is acknowledging who that man is in her life. What she's basically doing is acknowledging that her husband is going to be responsible for leading and guiding their family. The leader and the head of a family has a heavier responsibility. She talks about Christ. She talks about, the understanding of them doing this as unto God. If you look at how the Bible breaks down the marriage, it tells the woman to respect and submit to the husband, but it tells the man to lay down his life, to literally sacrifice his life for the bride. So the man actually has the heavier burden and the heavier responsibility in the relationship. And so, yes, if you know that somebody, if somebody is putting their life on the line, protecting and providing or doing whatever, if you know that he carries the heavier burden, it is only natural that you would want to respect that position and that authority. And so this, I think, is, again, just a very basic understanding of like what marriage actually is, if we are looking at it from a covenant standpoint and from a perspective of what God actually intended. Now, what you see a lot of today is just a whole bunch of different weird stuff. People just trying to one up one another, and people ultimately just trying to get their bills paid or take advantage. But that is not marriage, and that's not even a healthy relationship. That really is prostitution. Prostitution is not marriage. Covenant marriage is, very much, covenant marriage is like what she described. It is ultimately a reflection of Christ's love for the church. It is ultimately to be a mirror and to teach us about God's ways and to teach us about the value of community and the value of family through two people working together and sacrificing, really their individual wants or needs for the greater need of the unit, for the greater need of the family. So it really is a beautiful thing. And it is so lovely and refreshing when I see these things. And instead of me, fear-mongering a lady and saying, oh, that she's, crazy, or that she's, disrespecting herself, that she's dishonoring herself, I think there needs to be more of an understanding of what this kind of mindset means, and more balance. I understand there are some women who get abused. I understand there are some women who get taken advantage of. I understand that happens. But that's not every single case. And we have to get out of the fear mongering and just assuming that by nature of a woman being feminine and by nature of a woman actually being submissive, that means she's going to be abused. Like, I feel like there's so much fear mongering that people forget the beauty and the value and the power of what it actually means to be a submissive woman, because there is power in submission. There's protection in submission. And I wish just more of us actually understood that. But anyways, that's what I have for now. What do y'all think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know and we'll talk later, okay? Bye.